If you've ever wondered where the hole in the ozone layer came from, it was probably my fault with that stupid mohawk I wear. Hi, my name is Rhiannon Owens, and you are listening to the Marvel Card Collectors Podcast.
Because fuck it, why not? What did you just say about Nathan?
I said that Nathan looks like a coal miner who won the lottery and doesn't know what to do with all his free time now.
See, I was just saying to Nathan before you jumped on, I was just saying that he looks rather trim. I think he looks rather healthy and rather, because he's moved and
He was a
it's
vegan.
summer. And are you? Are you a vegan?
No, not
No?
even close.
Do you eat vegans?
For me,
Well,
it'd be red meat all
he
day if
doesn't
I had to
declare
choose.
that. You see, Nathan was raised conservative, but he's actually a reformed liberal.
Am I vegan if I eat cows that eat grass?
Exactly. I only eat vegans. Reminds me of the old phrase, I love kids, couldn't eat a whole one. Right. Let me kick us kick us off. Oh boy, anything could happen in the next half hour. Hello, everybody. My name is Ian Taylor, and you are listening or watching to the Marvel Card Collectors Podcast, your weekly digest of hobby goodness. Joining me this week to generally piss and moan about the price of the new Masterpieces set is Nathan Brabon of True Blue Collectibles and Billy Vezzosi, close enough, who we all know as Watch Me Open. Welcome to the podcast, gentlemen.
It's gonna be a fucking. This is where we get canceled.
This is where we get cancelled.
We're gonna have to run.
You're
You know,
gonna
like when they do a live taping and they can't air it, so they just do like a best of or a rerun.
A clip
We're
show.
gonna end up having to put out a rerun this week.
I can put out a clip show, no problem at all.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's fine. It's
gonna be a 2-hour episode just on how to say his last name.
Oh, don't even get me started. Don't even get me started. Look, I've
So Nathan, how many times have you? This is your second time here?
Third.
Third. Oh, that's
Yeah.
cool.
Billy, you're on 5. Yeah,
Five.
This is 5.
Nice.
Yeah, this is 5. We don't call him Billy 5 times for nothing.
There's a hat that comes with it.
So where is it?
It's on its way. You know,
Okay.
postage takes a long time. But 7, I get the crown.
So
Crown, and then there's a cape and a scepter.
hang on, no. The scepter is 10.
It's only
No.
7.
Oh well, sorry. It's in the small print.
Two-timing.
It's in the small print. You remember that movie, The Santa Claus, where the small print is like really, really
Oh
tiny?
yeah,
Is that one of
they're
those?
literally the Santa Claus.
Yes, exactly. Right. So, Nathan,
Yeah,
you
this
will
isn't a
get to
Tim Allen
speak on this.
podcast.
Yeah, you will get to speak
Hey,
at
I
some
don't
point.
mind.
You don't mind. Oh, I just love hearing your voice. So I wanted to talk this week about shit. I almost knocked something off the wall. Mental Con, and then we're going to get into Masterpieces, the new one. But can we talk about Mental Con first, Nate? Because you're what, 6 weeks post Mental Con now? Got to be 6 weeks.
Yeah, pretty much 6. Yeah, 6-ish plus weeks.
6 is
Plus or minus a few days.
And had you actually? Because I know you've just relocated. Had you moved at that point?
We moved the week after MentalCon.
Right.
So we did the stream Friday and Saturday night. That next Friday and Saturday, we were packing up the truck to move.
Right. And roughly how many miles? Because I know you've moved to a different state. But roughly how many miles are we talking here?
It was about 14 hours. But I think it's like almost 900 miles.
Wow. Okay. So and that's the thing. America's such a big ass place. That
We think in terms of
moving.
hours too. I could see him. I could see the steam coming out of his ears when you ask him how many
He's
miles.
trying to process that calculation.
Yeah. The thing is, you say that to me, that's like the distance from like the top of England to the bottom of England. In fact, it's probably slightly more. So, you've got so much more distance to deal with. No, I'm thinking, the reason I ask is because I imagine MentalCon feels like a whole other place as a result, because you've got the physical relocation and you've got the time since it happened. So just so I know you probably said this somewhere else, but just because this podcast will hopefully be a bottle that washes upon the shore of someone's content feed in years to come. How much did you raise in the end?
Over $21,000 we raised in a 24-hour time period for something that was put together in less than 2 months.
Wow. Okay. And
did you have a soft goal going in?
$5K.
Oh my goodness. Okay.
Yeah.
That's got to be satisfying.
So Saturday morning, during Justin's segment of the stream that was right before Fred and Ian came on, we were at right about 3,300-ish. And he's like, if you get, if it goes next, the person that gets it over 35 gets this card or whatever.
Yeah.
And we hit that just before the Fred and Ian interview. We already had a proxy bid from China come in for one of their sketches, but we had to wait for confirmation and for that segment. Mm-hmm. So I already knew we were going to break the 5, but nobody else knew that. Like Jake didn't even know that. So we were just waiting on confirmation on that bid. But at that point, it became, where can this go? Because we had all the, and this isn't to discredit any of the artists that came before that, but we had all the heavy hitter artists coming in later that day. Dre and Ash were coming in later that day, and Old Man Venom were in, and we just had Michael Munch on the morning with you, Ian. So, I mean, Saturday was pretty loaded with guests. So it just became, where's this going to end at that point in time? So I think the proxy bid from China certainly helped confirmation bias on that second sketch piece that went for more than the proxy bid. So Freddy and sketches together went for $6,100.
Wow.
Wow. I imagine you had like unplanned donations and stuff along the way too that helped you get there that you didn't account for.
Exactly, yeah. And then of course, you got to be a troll to all these other trolls that are out there, and you got to forget them in the credits, and then you got to have that conversation so publicly. I'm sorry, Billy.
It's fine.
I forgot to add you to the credits.
Like 30 names there. I'm 5% of the take.
I know, but you got to remember too, and this is not an excuse, but it's my reasoning, is 24 hours of having to produce this show, and then
I know on full rest, it could be 100 names, and you're always going to think of me first.
Absolutely, every time.
And not because I'm great, because I'm pervasive and annoying and like a rash.
Bing, bing, bing.
5 times Ian's got the fever.
I've got fever and chills. I have. I were there credits? I need to go back and rewatch this thing.
Yeah, at the end of the show. So at the end of the show, we rolled like thank you credits for all the artists. We had them all listed on there. We had credit section for like the donors, the people that had donated money. But Billy came into the stream and he had done a giveaway, and I had forgotten to add him to my list of people for the credits when he did the giveaway stuff as a donor. And then I think there was a couple of people that had forgotten on that, and I reached out to them too after Billy harassed me nonstop about forgetting him. I reached out to those other people too, to thank them. But yeah, there's a credit segment, and then we even did a mid-scene credit, like they do in the Marvel movies. Jake and I popped back in, and then we took a little shot at Genji just to take a piss out of him, because Jake and I never would have really hooked up or did the mental health episode on the Jerks podcast if Genji hadn't stepped away or gone on vacation or whatever he was doing to kind of move away from the Jerks podcast for a little bit.
And we can edit that out so he doesn't feel like he got credit for it.
Yeah, I can work on that. We're probably going to have quite a lot of editing to do this episode anyway. Let me just cut. Sorry, my Facebook is binging at me because I made a post earlier on that's getting loads of interaction, which we'll probably come on to later. So did you now? I know you had trouble with this, but I don't fully understand the reasons for it. I went back and I thought, you know what? I wouldn't mind having because I couldn't watch the whole feed because I wasn't able to stay awake for 24 hours. I damn well am next year. I've cleared it with the wife already. But what I couldn't go and rewatch it in its entirety, even though you streamed on YouTube. So what gives there? What is that, a YouTube thing?
It's a YouTube thing that I didn't know about. Apparently YouTube only archives like the first 12 hours of a stream, or up to 12 hours of streaming. And if it exceeds that, when the stream's done, they just dump it. They don't keep anything. They don't keep the first 12 hours. They don't keep anything.
Oh, wow.
So we were able to recover the first 10 hours of the stream because excuse me, because StreamYard records it, but they only record up to 10 hours.
Right.
And then we were able to recover the couple segments where Justin had gone live on his channel, the Fred and Ian interview and the Ash Gonzalez sketching to wrap the show up. So we were able to recover a good part of that, but we lost a lot of good content from Saturday itself.
Yeah.
And the weird part is, and this, it's funny because I'm sure Michael will take a piss out of us on this one, is the recording from StreamYard ended about 10 seconds after Michael came on Saturday morning. Like he came in, the recording ended. So it's like, oh shit.
The magnificent munch.
Yeah, so that was disappointing. So we got some stuff kind of in place and that we're working on to make sure that doesn't happen for next year's event, because next year's event's going to be twice as big. So
okay. So what can you tell us about next year's event? I mean, you've got a logo already.
We got a logo already. Joseph Reed, Old Man Venom, he did the logo for this year's event. He's going to tweak a few things that he wants to personally tweak. He's going to do some variant options for us just because he wants to do some variant options. But I really like the logo this year. It kind of resembles a little bit of the metal logo from the Marvel cards with a big brain in the middle of it. So we're going to be able to, next year's event, we're going to do 48 hours. Jake and I are not going to stay up for 48 hours.
Wow. Okay.
We're breaking it down different segments. So we're going to have Marvel card segments. We're going to have Pokemon segments. We're going to have Star Wars segments and potentially a couple others there. But we're going to have hosts for those individual segments.
Right.
So that way they can get their guest lineup situated based on the schedule they're provided. They can get their guest lineup. It expands the reach of what MentalCon is to then potentially raise more money for charities. So we're still working what charity or charities we want to be a part of. And then all those different segments, we'll do a 48-hour show. We'll be able to pop in and out hosts of the show to essentially pop up comments, move cameras around, that sort of stuff. Just last week, we did about a 1-hour stream, kind of giving some of the details of what we're looking at for next year. We're always open to chat and the community's involvement and their ideas in it.
Was that on your weekly show?
Not Billy's.
Was that on your weekly show that you did that?
No, that was last week Sunday we did it.
Okay, so it was something separate where you just talked about that.
Yeah, because we just got the MentalCon YouTube channel up, so we'll be doing that once a month on the YouTube channel for MentalCon. So we'll be doing that there to kind of give a roundup of where we're at in that process and collect ideas and stuff like that from people out there. And we got a bunch of great ideas from the last stream, different things we can do. But having the logo is important for us because now we can get card stock ahead of time.
Yes.
We can get, we want to do like some merchandise stuff like t-shirts or, coffee mugs or tumblers or whatever. And then be able to sell that to then raise more money to then do better things for the event, pick up boxes to break during the event where people can essentially like sell the merchandise to buy boxes to then sell as breaks like you would with Whatnot to then raise money for charity,
Cool.
And doing things like that. Different little fun aspects that we want to add to the stream. Definitely more structured. This year we had a schedule, but we weren't sure how that schedule was going to go because it was the first time we ever did anything like this. So it was like, okay, we only have a couple people per hour time block. That should work, right? Well, we found out that a half hour per person or 45 minutes per person really isn't enough. We had a lot of overlap, which was fine. The conversation flowed, but I think we want to allow people more time to talk about their stories and, their collecting or whatever they want to talk about. So we want to find or just hard stops on those segments. Like your time slot's done. Sorry. Next guest. Like you would with the normal TV production.
Yeah. Cool. Did you hit any particular walls during the 24 hours? Was there a moment when you were like, oh, I need a third wind?
What was nice? So the overnight hour, we had the Mexican Mafia, elusive.
Jesus fucking Christ.
Doom
I
cards.
know that's what they call themselves, but it's just
Monster in the Iron Mask, Sergio, all those guys, they were fantastic. And the nice thing is they're able to carry a conversation so well with just themselves that Jake and we literally just walked, at least I did. I walked away because we had so many people on stream. I walked away and I was just in the background, just moving people around, popping up comments. I was producing, and not having to run the show. And that segment brought up a lot of the ideas we have for this year, where Jake and I cannot be on screen all the time. And we can be the producers of the show and let the hosts host their segments.
Because even aside from creatively hitting the wall, like Ian was asking, like, I'm sure there's a physical hit in the wall where some point we're probably in danger of just
physical is what I meant, but yeah.
So leading up to the show, there's the anxiety built up with that too, right? So the day before the show, so our show went live 8 p.m. Eastern Friday night. I had 3 hours of sleep within the last 36 hours prior to the show.
First day of school syndrome.
Yep, exactly. And then you got the hype, you're going, and of course it took me a little bit to get going because if you watch the Rhiannon Owens and the Ariel Mamani segments, I was definitely more like trying to produce more so than focusing on hosting and being with the guest, and that was on me. But as the show went on, it was nice to get away in the middle of the night. It was nice to kind of have like Ian, you coming on and just being able to kind of talk about whatever you wanted to talk about and just letting you roll with that conversation. Because Jake and I, we sat down before when we came up with this idea. We're like, what the hell are the two of us going to talk about for 24 hours? Because we didn't know who all would even be involved with it, And setting the goal at 5K was like, here's a number. What do you pick there? You're like, when you don't know who's showing up, you're like, just grab this number, throw it out there, see what happens.
But I imagine the round table, because as you even said, sometimes all that is just, it's like a run on stream and you guys don't even know where to stop. I'm sure like that experience and being in that and knowing, how to just kind of kick something up when, and not have any dead air. I'm sure that helped a little bit in, even as producing the Mental Con.
Yeah, absolutely. It was great because, we had some of those segments there where we did have too many people and we're like, okay, we're getting to where we need to boot some people, and being able to have that.
You're all too damn nice to pull the trigger.
But the nice thing is with StreamYard, you have that private chat segment. So you can just say, hey, if anybody can jump off, we got more people coming in. So we need somebody to clear out, and Jake's like, nope, next year, I'm just kicking them. I'm like, whatever, man. I don't care.
It's like the hook comes on from the side of the stage by the neck and just drags it off like that. Yeah, that's hilarious. Well, listen, I mean, I'm thrilled that it was a success. I'm thrilled for the charity. Obviously, I'm thrilled for the what it was trying to get more kind of conversation around. That was the idea, and I think that has definitely been achieved. And I'm thrilled that it was successful for you guys, because I know that it came together pretty quickly. And I know that, from personal experience, I think I was on for maybe 2 hours and a bit. I think I maybe outstayed my welcome slightly. But anyway, I was on with my bit and then Mike Munshaw and then a little bit of someone else's. And then I came back for the Fred and Ian part and I had the best time. I mean, I had the best time I've had this year in terms of just being on something with other people talking about hobby stuff.
I was very nervous about how that was going to go with the having to do the translator aspect of it, because initially I was like, all right, I took French in high school, I know a little bit of it still, I could freshen up on it and maybe just ask the questions. But I'm not going to know what they. I'm not going to know what they said to be able to tell.
We sound like a child to them, basically.
Yeah, exactly.
Even if we know what we're saying, we sound like a child. I've tried it.
Yeah. So it was nice. Arnoud came in and he offered up his services free of charge for doing that, and I couldn't have expected it to go any better. The only thing I would say is like, and this isn't a shout out at Arnoud because he did fantastic. I think an artist that speaks French and English would have been a step above that, because then they know that lingo, right? They know the ins and outs of the terminologies that they're using to make that translation a little more
efficient,
I guess, transparent for efficient,
seamless.
Yeah. I mean, it was very special because I don't think anyone's really I think you might have pulled off the first kind of proper thing that they've done where they're on any kind of content talking about the work they do for Marvel cards.
And it's for that reason. Fred's told me that it's because of the language barrier.
Yeah. He's told me as well. I mean, I've had messages with him. They were even, and it wasn't they refused or anything like that. They were just not comfortable with and didn't want to muck up and were far too nice about it. They wouldn't, they weren't even comfortable in their own skin enough to do an intro for the audio version of this one. So, which is completely cool in the game.
Which is why you heard Dave DeVries again this week. Sorry again, Dave.
No, it won't be Dave DeVries again this week. We haven't actually talked about who the artist.
We did have conversations with Peach to try to get Peach on, and because I know she doesn't do anything without a translator, really. But we just couldn't work out whether we were going to pre-record her or if she was going to come in live, and then schedules didn't match up for her. So
she's bonkers busy at the moment. It's a crazy time of year for her with all the cons and things. I remember about a year back, haven't followed up on it actually. She did agree to do a written thing with us at the very least. But then us became me, and then I haven't picked it up again since. But I'll wait until her crazy con season is over and see if she's reach out to Yo. So next year. Have you got the dates penciled in?
Yeah, summer solstice. It's what is that, June 21st-ish, right around there, that weekend. So that's June 21st, 22nd, and 23rd, because it'll be a 48-hour event. So probably similar times.
Spend the longest day of the year inside.
Pretty much.
That's what we do.
Pretty much. Yeah.
That's what all of us introverts do.
Yeah, that's what middle-aged men with beards. You talk about.
Nathan, let's talk turkey. All the money this year went to Wounded Warrior Project. Is that right?
Correct. Yes.
Is that the plan for next year, or expecting it to be bigger? Are you thinking about?
Well, so the goal for next year will be what we raised this past year. That'll be the goal next year, as far as like what we'd like to raise. We've had talks about actually creating an actual nonprofit, to where that money can then be used throughout the year for various things. If somebody loses a family member that's in our communities to a mental health reason, being able to help the kids or something like that out, and having those funds available throughout the year to be able to raise money throughout the entire year to be able to do things like that. We got a couple different charities in mind this year, and we might do both of them. I think some of the conversations have revolved around doing charities that are more like personable, where you could see that impact, Wish, or like Make-A-Wish does, where they have like people go and they do things. There's charities that the people dress up as superheroes, and then they go and they meet the kids and stuff like that, and you get to actually see that result versus just okay, we donated money to this charity.
And then also, there's, if it's not something that's kind of global, then someone in outside the United States or wherever they may be, they might be less like, why do I care if like there's kids in my country that
Yeah, and we had tried to find some really good nonprofit global mental health related charities. It just was not easy to find something that was global.
I know. I went through it. I did a fundraiser a few years ago, and I was trying to find something that had that global appeal, but still had the same, mission.
Yeah, and, I mean, because there's great charities out there. Like United Way is a great charity. There's a whole bunch of different great charities, and I recall when I worked at a pharmaceutical company, every year there was always like, hey, you can donate money out of your paycheck to these charities. Then you start reading about the charities, and you're like, but the people that run the charities are getting all the money. The charity's not getting that much of it. That's why they have to raise so much money, because I'm like, that's not what we want. We want something that the money's going back into, the causes. And
right. And it's a catch-22, because obviously a smaller charity, they're going to be easier to manage. They're going to be more effective at actually helping with an issue that's people related.
Exactly. Like
a globally run charity, they're going to have to, have some broad influence that's probably not even tangible. So I get it. It's challenging, but I trust you guys. Your heart's in the right place, and
thanks.
You'll figure something out.
You want some of those? Sorry, carry on.
No, I was just going to say, and it might end up being a couple different charities this year too. So, because we do have the different segments, so we do want those hosts to have influence or input on where things are going. So
you want some of those cutaways where you've got pre-record stuff. It's like a dramatic voiceover. Every 60 seconds in Africa, a minute passes, stuff like that. I've been dying to use that joke, can you tell? But one thing would be good. I've been in for most of this year so far. About a year actually. There's a really good Lord of the Rings card group, and that might be a pretty cool one because Matt Fuller is big into Lord of the Rings. And when I say big, you think his Marvel collection's big. His Lord of the Rings collection is fucking off.
What does he have? Another house where he keeps all this stuff?
Well, you've seen the background of the one that he's in. I mean, literally, it's like the TARDIS, that room. And then there's also just a generic one on pop culture. So those guys might be good for just more general non-sports. I'm sure some of you guys are probably already in some of these. But there's also one on Game of Thrones that I joined about a year ago as well. And Game of Thrones cards goes deep. So there's all these IPs, that generally, you've got Star Wars, Marvel, and generally speaking, the rest of it is referred to as non-sports. But within that, you've got some pretty big pillars, where there's been an awful lot of cards produced. So yeah, tapping into some of that stuff would be good as well.
And not for nothing, what does every niche of non-sports aspire to be like? Like, I'm sure there's plenty of us that, sports. I'm sure there's plenty of us that have connections in sports that we could grab sports people to do a sports themed thing for 4 hours or whatever.
Well, the nice thing is we got some nice people that are already in the Marvel card world that have really big sports followings. People like Jen. He's from Lootbox TV. They've got over 80,000 people, subscribers on YouTube. So, I mean, there's a big reach just right there. And then they have plenty of contacts to bring additional people in. To help a great cause, right? So
when it's for something like that, I wouldn't feel like territorial about, this is non-sports, you stay over there,
Not at all. I'll tell you who would be good. You heard him on this podcast if you've been listening. Chris Carlin, he used to be at Upper Deck. He's now at Collectors, so he's big PSA.
We'd love to have Upper Deck more involved.
Well, yeah, I mean that's a conversation in itself. But what I'm saying is, now that Chris has moved over to Collectors, Chris talks a good talk. He could definitely bring some eyeballs in. It could be good to do a segment with some of his team. They do so much stuff over there. That could be good. I mean, listen, you just look at the kind of players that you had at the National. I'm sure a lot of those guys would be up for participating, and a lot of them have got budgets where they could, they've got budgets for this stuff. These bigger players as well.
I mean, ideally, in the next few years, we'd like to get to where we can at least have a location where like the hosts can all get together, potentially have the artists come in, and then have like a both virtual and physical con at the same time, where everything can stream. There could be a section where the guests, the artists, the hosts, they're all on camera at the same time. Everybody's there, and then go into a bigger and bigger event every year, and that'd be fantastic, I think. But,
it would be good. I mean, and when they're not streaming, they could be getting shit-faced at the hotel bar, so that works quite well. Let's make it happen.
Jake does it while he's streaming anyway.
He does. I've tried it a couple of times. I used to when I used to record in the evening. I always used to record with a glass, but then I did an episode with Billy. I think you were on it a few months back with Amanda and Keith, where we did hobby questions.
172.
If you say so, dear. I've been to sleep since then. And my head's still a bit thick from this cold, so I can't remember what I did yesterday. Let alone
I have them all tattooed on my arm.
I'm sure you probably do. Yes. I was genuinely, for the first time ever, I felt mentally impaired by the end of the episode. Now, whether that was the alcohol or the topics or the guests, who knows? But it could have been a combination of all three. I felt veritably giddy by the end of it, and I could barely sign off. So, such good podcasts are made of. Do we have, before we go and talk about masterpieces, do we have any suggestions over who we might want as the artist intro on the audio version of this shebang for this week? You probably
a default to 5-time Billy.
I mean,
no.
I could put Billy at the top, but we've got a lot of very worthy people.
Have you ever done an intro, Ian?
I think I have, yes, but considering people have to suffer me for 90 to 120 minutes, I don't think it'd be fair for me to be the very first voice.
I think you're gonna have to put your self-conscious needs aside and do it, because it'll make us feel more important.
I suppose so, yeah. How?
Because you don't traditionally do it, but you're doing it, because we're here and you want a worthy lead, and people are going to hear you introduce the show and be like, wait, Ian's doing it? It must be a pretty cool show.
Yeah, but you think thank you for blowing smoke up my ass, but you assume I'm worthy. It's like the hammer of Thor, this intro thing. You've got to be worthy of the power to be able to wield it in the first place. You're not going to help me out with choosing an intro, are you? I can tell. You're just going to be fucking blowing smoke up my ass. So there will be an intro at the front of the audio version of this episode, folks.
Did you get Dan to do an intro?
I don't know. Dan Dos Santos, yes, and it will have been used on the episode that's recorded but hasn't come out yet. That will be the one after this one. That guest requested that it goes on there. So much as I'd love to have Dan 2 weeks in a row,
you know me, I'm a man of the people. I would pick somebody like a Louis Alonso or Off-White Tim, being an aspiring artist that are doing more stuff, and they're
I've not spoken to Off-White yet. I've not spoken to him as yet. I genuinely just I've seen him around on other people's content, but I haven't been able to watch any of the content that he's been on. How about we have Ray Largo? What about Ray Largo this week, kids? No?
What about we get a new one?
We're going to edit this out. Ray, I'm sorry.
What about we get Speroni to do it?
Well, Speroni's on my upcoming guest list.
Yeah, he can't introduce himself. He'll do it.
I guess so. I'll be honest with you, folks. This is taking far longer than I anticipated.
Yeah, you're going to have to leave this all in. They're going to have to hear the process.
I'm going to have to leave this all in. I'm also going to have to write an apology note to Ray Largo. Let's move on to talk about masterpieces 2022, 2023. WTF.
Did that come out?
2022.
You think?
2022.
Yeah, I know that's what they're officially calling it, but I'm still... Because when you do eBay searches, it's coming up under both. You have to have two.
Just put them in parentheses.
Ian, wait till Premiere comes out and it says 2021 on it.
Yeah,
just put 2022 and 2023 in parentheses with a comma, no space. You'll get both of them. You'll be good to go.
Really? Does that?
Yes, sir.
Is this a life hack for eBay you've just taught me?
Yeah. And if you put a minus before the parentheses.
I'm sorry?
You were today years old?
I was today years old, yes. I was today years old when I found out you could do that. Well, stab me with a spam syringe. That's amazing. I'm just going to go away and practice that now. So Masterpieces, as we record, it's been out, what 4 days, 5 days, if that. And there's been all sorts of... thank you, Nate. Nathan's just sent it to me. Oh, you can do that as well. Oh, my goodness me. Well.
So those of you listening, put the minus in front of the parentheses, and it'll get rid of anything you don't want.
That is... Well, I knew the minus part. It's the parentheses part, or brackets, as we call them in the UK.
No spaces, though.
No
just
spaces.
Comma, and then keep going. Yep,
no spaces. Can I tell you a really shit joke? What do you do if you see a spaceman? Parking it, man. No? Oh, Jesus. Anyway, Masterpieces 2020.
Well, he's no Jimmy Carr.
No. Oh, thank God for that. I can't stand Jimmy Carr. Seriously, first against the war and the revolution comes if I had my way. Loads of American listeners are going, Jimmy who?
He looks like a ventriloquist doll to me.
Oh, it's just
he does, doesn't he?
I can't stand the guy. I really can't stand the guy.
You're never going to unsee it now. And I don't just mean the two of you. I mean everybody listening. When you look at comedian Jimmy Carr, you're going to picture
use the word
drawn lines on his sides of his chin, and he's being manipulated from the rear.
He is. He is.
like
you know what? A lot of people in this hobby are, but we won't go there. So
right, and so I'm going to be our GPS that's going to remind us. Let's just try to just talk about our personal feelings, so that it doesn't feel like mudslinging. We don't reduce ourselves to the level of the people that we have opinions about.
No. Well, let's go there then. So there's two aspects to this. I should point out that at this moment,
someone got me as a gift.
What?
It's High Evolutionary from the Guardians of the Galaxy movie. They got this on Etsy, made for me. It's a nice custom Lego figurine of High Evolutionary. That's the kind of people we have.
Thanks for that, Billy.
I'm saying those are the ones we should focus on. They just send you random things because
no, it's good. It's good. There's two aspects to this. What I wanted to say was none of us at this point of this recording have opened or seen any of the new product in hand. Nath, I think you've got 2 boxes coming, was it?
Yeah, so we're recording on Sunday, so tomorrow the 2 boxes I have are supposed to be coming.
Oh,
yeah. To be fair, Ian's seen the work longer than any of us.
Have I?
Didn't they show you stuff?
No.
Oh, I thought you got to see stuff.
No, mate. No, I'm not inside circle on this one. Not even close. Not even close. So, of the pieces that you've seen coming out, what's been the most pleasantly surprising piece that you've seen break? Nath, do you want to go
I'm
first?
biased, so the domino. However, if I'm going outside of my own personal collection, the card that I really like there's 2. I really like the Enchantress and I like the Black Bolt. I really like those 2 cards.
Black Bolt, yeah. And that's the one where we should have got these prepped. That's the one where Black Bolt is there and he's kind of in profile, isn't it? And something's just disintegrated.
That's what tasting notes are for.
Blowing it up.
He's blowing it up. Nathan's gonna get some shit on screen, I'm sure. Let me get my shit. Let me allow us all to share simultaneously, which is a dirty phrase, but it's what Zoom calls it. I'm particularly smitten with the Medusa. I had a feeling that one was going to be good. There's the Black Bolt. Now, what is that he's just disintegrating there?
It looks like Ultron.
Oh, yes.
You got the heart here and then all the metal pieces.
Yeah, I can see the face now. I can just see the face just hanging together in the jaw. Yeah, no, that's good. That is a stunning piece.
Enchantress.
Here we go.
Enchantress pulled up.
All right, Nathan's going to be driving on this one then. No, I've not seen this one yet. That's lovely.
I just love the pose, the coloring.
Yeah,
just looks really good.
And you just know she's talking to you.
Exactly. She's like, hey, let me whisper something to you.
Yeah, exactly.
You guys are married, so I mean, I can look all I want.
Hey, mate, I can look in the shop window. I just can't go in and try anything on. That's a wonderful expression. So Medusa, I really love. The other one that I saw that I'm pleasantly
let him pull the Medusa up because that one's insane. No. With the effect of the hair.
The Medusa is amazing. And when we're there, so keep sharing, Nath. And we're going to take a little walk through people's eBay listings. I love that.
That's really good.
That's just really cool. I just love the light source from behind as well, so you can see the silhouette of her foot. There's all these swords sticking out everywhere as well. That's quite a nice touch. Nice touch. I love that. And Thanos. Hit me with some Thanos. That's nice.
That's the holofoil.
That's the holofoil. Is there? Yeah. I don't think I've seen the base. Is there a base one as well?
Let me see if we got a base one on here at all.
Let's have a little stop for the pre.
I think
Let's
it's
have
the
a little
same.
stop for the
I think it's
prelim.
the same art.
It is the same
sure
art.
It's the same art.
Yeah.
Because the holofoil checklist is messed up. We did figure out the 20 that are available.
Yeah, let's talk about that in a minute.
14 that are not correct. So
let's talk about that in a moment. Go back to that prelim that was on that listing as well.
Sure.
Because can I just say, I'm absolutely loving Dan's prelims on this set.
So
see, now I've heard some difference.
Let me follow up that. How do you feel about, like, if that's what you're going to get as a redemption?
I'm absolutely fine with it.
Okay. Because I mean, as a card, it's one thing, but for some people, it might not translate to the the 5x7.
Well,
something that they're going to want to hang on a wall.
Yeah, of course. I think listen, I'd be happy with it. I mean, I've seen the Black Cat one, and I love I love the simplicity of it. It's nice just having the line work on there,
right?
And it's it's different. I like the fact that it's different because different artists. Simone's. I mean, listen, if everyone's prelims was as Simone's were, I think it'd be a whole different ballgame. But Simone's are obviously in a class of their own. I think Dave's and Dan's are both very much the result of their process that they go through.
Yeah.
I
always loved
how,
the idea. I'm sure Dave's explained to you how he did his, but it was like, I'm going to use these 3 colors. And if I can't get my idea to work with just these 3 colors, then it's not worth it.
And yeah, I really like these. I really like these a lot. Billy, what have you seen that you were particularly tickled with?
So I can't get away from Battle Spectra, I'm going to get into first gripe with the structure.
Spectrum.
It's Battle Spectrum. It was Battle Spectra before.
Spectrum. Right. Okay. Yeah.
They changed it to align with the other parallels that are called Spectrum. And the whole lack of alignment within. We'll get to that. Rogue versus Mystique.
Oh, the Rogue versus Mystique. Actually, while you're on that, Nath, sorry. How toned is Spidey's butt in that photo? Where he's fighting with Venom. I mean, that's New York's butt right there.
That's Queens' butt.
Queens' butt, yeah. Well, no, Eugene is Queens' butt, so we'll give this as New York's butt.
Shout out to Eugene.
Shout out to Eugene.
Hobby hero.
Yeah, just a touch. Yeah, that one.
Yeah, that's so good.
Just inspired the concept of it.
Do we know who's who?
I think Rogue is the one on the right because I think it's just showing a crossover on their faces. But the hair gives it away.
But Rogue has her gloves on.
You get the hands. The hands are changing.
Yeah, I don't know.
I would say, looking at it, I'd say the one on the right is Rogue as well, because that's the only one with the hair color difference.
Yeah, it's kind of got spaghetti arms going on. I can't figure out what's it's like one of those parties you go to and you can't figure out what limbs are whose.
So these 2 white ones belong to the one on the right.
Okay. Yes, because I can see that coming down and going up. Yeah, right. Okay. It's a stunning piece, though, isn't it? Wow.
Yeah, I think Mystique's on the right.
You might be right.
And that the wrist on neck contact is what triggered the power exchange.
Because it's got to be skin to skin, isn't it, for Rogue? Yeah.
Rogue's got her gloves on.
Nice.
Crack the code. Yeah, nice. But that's my favorite. As much as I enjoy anything else I see, that's the one I always come back to.
Yeah. I mean, I haven't been able to watch barely anything in terms of breaks and reveals. I've just looked at what's been on group with a little flick through eBay, and so I know I haven't seen all of the art yet. So yeah, I'm hoping to get a box, but who knows? Who knows? Billy, you won't be buying one, will you? Because your ball's not in it, and you kind of don't do that anymore.
Yeah, no, I'm done buying.
Yeah,
for new sets.
Okay, fair enough. So Nath, you've been in this quite deep. You've been doing checklist work. You've been doing the Lord's work, as I call it. because the info that we got initially was a bit of a bum steer. Am I right?
Yeah, so the initial checklist that got sent out, Dan did 135 pieces for the set.
Mm.
And the checklist that I had won during one of the giveaway streams was signed by Dan. It was the first appearance of the character list, essentially, not a checklist.
That's right.
But that character list was broken down in segments that matched up directly to previous set breakdowns.
Yeah.
So like these are these, and we could pretty much assume that. And then when Upper Deck finally did release checklists to everybody else, it matched identical to what we had thought things were going to be. But when the set came out, the holofoils don't match up. There are cards within the set itself that don't match up. Kitty Pryde and Archangel, for example, are switched. Archangel was supposed to be a tier 1, but is a tier 2. Kitty Pryde was supposed to be a tier 2, but is a tier 1. The 2-3 puzzle sets, so the Archangel, Iceman, and Gambit are not paired up in the checklist and sequential. Mojo, Longshot, and Dazzler are not sequential, and they don't line up to where they'd be in.
So explain
like
that when you say the 3-panel, because we've never had that in a modern masterpieces.
I'm going to bring that up on screen while you're doing that because I've got it saved.
Yeah, so the 3-panel essentially is.
I don't think we've had it since '93.
Yeah, that's 3 pieces of art.
Well,
even in '93 they weren't sequential. In '93 they weren't sequential either, because you had who was it? Captain America, I think, was the centerpiece, and then
Iron Man,
the Steranko one.
Yeah, but those weren't sequential either. So I mean, you had to, if you wanted them by each other, you had to have your binder all jacked up. So, or have a separate page just for those cards. But
sorry, you're explaining that these exist.
Yeah. So the puzzle pieces are, it's 3 pieces of art that then pair together to create one scene, kind of like the Danger Room did with the X-Men sets in the early 90s. And Ian's got that pulled up there.
So this is as Dan called it in his post, because he asked, he's surprised no one has posted them yet. He's called this Mojo World. So you got Longshot, Mojo, and Dazzler. I love that Dazzler, by the way. I mean, it's really cool.
Yeah. So one thing with this is that the Dazzler art doesn't match up. Like the card, like you can see there's too much tail there.
Yeah.
Like the framing on that, they center Dazzler on the card versus making the card match like it should if you were right next to each other.
Yeah, whereas
so you have to kind of overlap it.
Cut. Yeah. Oh, that's a shame. That's a shame. Let's have a look at this, see if anyone's posted the other one. 1 sec.
Well, because we already know that in addition to shrinking these, they lop a portion off. I don't know if you guys ever have seen, but the original art for Baron Zemo from 2020, there's so much more in the foreground. You can see all these minions worshiping him, and it was cut off when they converted to card.
Now,
and that one, doesn't line up great either.
Someone has stitched together this one because the other one doesn't completely line up as well. So someone has stitched this to make it look a bit better. So you got Iceman, Archangel, and Gambit. I wouldn't say it's the cleanest image.
That's so much just like lack of effort on Upper Deck's part to take something that should have been really nice, and then they Upper Decked it.
Is that now a new?
And they're never coming back.
Is that now a new thing? So on the holofoils, are there pieces then that were on that list originally, both on the one that you had and then the initial checklist that was released, that are no longer in the set?
Yeah.
You want to take that one, Billy?
In place, art from base cards was reused for.
Yes, no, I genuinely don't know the answer to the question. That's why I'm asking, because I haven't been able to follow on with it. Because I've been ill all week, so I've kind of been under a blanket.
It wasn't intended for the people out there collecting it and have noticed it. It wasn't intended. He said that those pieces were made, and for whatever reason, they didn't get used.
Right. Okay. So the thing that surprises me in this is the reuse of art, because it's Masterpieces set, and we've never seen that in one of the modern premium ones. Is a base card bit of art being reused as a holofoil or vice versa. So who did we lose?
All right. So Captain America, Spider-Man, Wolverine, Thor, Hope Summers, Ant-Man, Wasp, Thanos, Iron Man, Vision, Quicksilver, Scarlet Witch, Captain Marvel, Morbius, Groot, Kingpin, Daredevil, Omega Red, Silver Surfer, and Sauron. Those are the ones that are there. Cardboard Connection has already updated the checklist to remove the mistakes. So I don't have the original.
Right, okay.
I do have the original. Forgive me. Give me just 1 sec.
I was going to say, I thought you had the list.
Yeah.
The list.
You're one of the only people that has the original.
Yeah. Yes. It's there somewhere. It's moved home.
I think it makes it a little more special now because it doesn't match the actual checklist. All right. So our originals were Better Ray Bill, Carnage, Colossus, Phantom X, Green Goblin, Hawkeye, Howard the Duck. We lost all of those.
Howard the Duck.
Iron Man, Jane Foster, we lost. Kang, we lost. Kingpin, Loki, we lost. Magneto, we lost. Morbius, Mystique, Nick Fury, Sauron, Shadow King, Silver Surfer, and Tigra. So we lost Tigra and Shadow King as
Tigra. Well. You don't go to the zoo and see a tiger. You see a tiger.
Tiger. Nick Fury and Mystique are gone as well. So we lost some really good ones, especially when you're losing characters like Carnage. Yeah, that's a big character, and that's the only card that they were supposed to be on. Now,
and you can't even write off to Jonathan Majors because that was probably decided way before he, beat up a woman.
Yeah,
that's gone to print. So what's the? Do we know? Have we heard anything from any sources at all?
Not reliable, at least not that I've heard.
Is it all just speculation at the moment?
I feel it's speculation, but there may be somebody in inner circles that has information. Because people have said that the art is going to be in the set. I just don't know where, unless they're going to make it some sort of redemption or achievement.
We've tagged our preferred contacts in the groups, and they haven't responded.
Well, they won't. I think I might have mentioned that in my post I alluded to earlier on. Upper Deck won't engage on Facebook. They just don't. Well, A, they don't do it. B, and I have said this before, but people seem to forget it. My understanding is, as of about 2 years ago, when I was told this by someone who doesn't work there anymore, is that they all sign a contract that says if there's any post on any social media platform that is negatively talking about either a product or the company, they are not allowed to comment on
participate.
They're just
but to say where the art's going to be used isn't something.
Oh, I know, but no. What I'm saying is that
he's saying they're trained to avoid controversy.
Basically,
right?
I think even without that, they're just, it's not in whatever the remit is at the moment, whatever their comms plan is. They do not use Facebook at all as any kind of customer engagement platform. They do some of it on Twitter with Upper Deck Sports account and things like that, and there's an Upper Deck QA account. So maybe Twitter is the angle, or if you're on their Discord. But they redid their Discord, and there was a dedicated space for Marvel cards, and it's now pretty much gone. So they just use that a lot for their gaming stuff. So I honestly don't know. I'm hoping I can ask them on the podcast at some point soon. But at the moment, for reasons that they'll know, it's not part of their strategy to have that engagement with collectors and consumers openly like that. So be that as it may, I'm sure it will remain speculation until, unless the artist himself comes and talks about it, or Upper Deck go on another content production and talk about it themselves. So who knows? It's one of life's great mysteries.
Or until EPAC comes out, and then we have confirmation.
Or till EPAC comes out, yes, exactly. So I spotted something a bit weird on Facebook this morning. That there's a green parallel. I think it's supposed to be out of 25. Am I right?
Yep.
And it's not been printed green foil.
There's two theories of thought on that, right? It's either a green parallel error card that's missing the green foiling, or it's a base card that was, or a base card sheet that was stamped on accident.
That's interesting.
Because in this set, they didn't print what the parallel is on the back of the card like they had with other sets.
The question with that is, does it decrease or increase the amount of that parallel, because from what I understand, that apparatus that will stamp the serial number like goes in sequence. It goes through one time and it moves on to the next one.
But that's the thing is because I've
cards
seen
are done
so
one
far.
side, and cards are presumably done one side at a time. So
yeah,
I don't imagine that there's something out there with a complete green front and back in addition, to the ones that only have the serial number.
Yeah,
I've seen two. There's been a Lewis pulled a 25 of 25, and then I saw one that was like I think it was 22 of 25. So they wouldn't have even been on the same sheet to have that error.
Yeah.
So like Billy said, does it reduce the number of greens that are out there?
Yeah. I've seen two characters.
Does that mean that there's 25 out of 1999 with a green front?
Tough to tell because the thing is the stamp. I haven't looked at it much on this year, but I hadn't spotted that it doesn't say like legendary purple or epic orange or whatever it used to say on the back of the card. So if they've taken that off, that's an odd one, given that they've started putting it on the back of like beginnings and Allure. They actually started typing it on the back as well. But if you're going to do 20 parallels, you've kind of got to do that. But what is interesting is that the foiling of the numbering usually matches the foil that's it's supposed to be. So then the stamp on a purple would be a purple.
So I did just eBay search an emerald green out of 25, and it does say emerald green on it.
Oh, it does. Show me. Not that I disbelieve you, but show me so that our audience can also see.
That's good. Well, the audience will be able to see it too.
Well, they will, and it'll be like, look at what you could have won, because I'm sure by the time this goes out, it will have.
Okay, so from what I know, so right down.
Oh wow! Okay,
right down there, it does say emerald green, 7 of 25. Now
just
the one
front?
that Lewis.
Is that
it's got the green? It's
got
the green foiling.
Yeah.
Now I know the one Lewis pulled. He said that it didn't say emerald green on it. So
let me find, because I do have the one from dear. So many posts. So I've just seen the most another post.
Oh my god!
On the group, talking about
stuff. The mall cop of Marvel cards.
Oh dear.
That's what he's been reduced to because of these people.
It's just these fucking people. I can't find it. I can't find it now. But there was a post where someone had. Here we go. No, that's because he deleted it. But I do have an image of it. There was a post by a fella who had pulled. That's right. He pulled a black cat, and it was silver foiling, and it had 12 of 25 on the back. But yes, it did not have emerald green written on it.
Yeah, I have that here too. I have that here too.
And there was another one posted this morning as well. I can't remember the character. Might be
so right there you can see the 12 out of 25.
Yeah, that's it. That's the one I'm looking at.
And it doesn't say emerald green.
That's right.
So I would think that this is a base card that's misstamped out of 25.
That's interesting. That's really
That's what I would say at that point in time. Because the other ones do say emerald green. I would say this is a base card misstamped.
I bloody want it though.
But to Billy's point, does that then reduce the number of cards out of 1999?
Fair point. That's so interesting. I find it fascinating.
I think that's a good opportunity to point something out. Because and this is the only time I'll pontificate, because I don't think people know. Just like about a year ago, people didn't know that when at 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on Monday afternoon, the Upper Deck EPAC website crashed. That it wasn't caused by Fred Ian. They were not complicit in the failure of a website to sell a card that was made based on art they painted. Dan Dos Santos has nothing to do with the production, the design of the structure of the set, the execution. Please don't reach out to Dan Dos Santos about a poorly cut card, about a botched corner. He literally, and I say this, and we all think it's funny, but like there are people out there right now.
Yeah. There are.
Yeah. I can tell you, I'll put my hand on Bible. I will bet a year's pay. There's at least one listening right now that would feel the need to hold him accountable for something like that.
Yeah.
He has nothing to do with it.
Mm.
He has nothing to do with the price of the product. He has nothing to do with the fact that in previous years, red canvas were numbered to 25 and now they're pink.
I must say, right, while we're talking about this, not that I'm intending this to be an MM 2022 shitpost episode, but I've noticed that the foiling on some of those gallery cards is massively off on some of them. Have you seen that? There's a blue in particular.
Even on the hollow foils, they're
is it
quite a bit off on a lot of them. Yeah.
Wow.
But why doesn't the color number match across parallels, across inserts? Why are all 101s red?
Yeah, I don't know. It's the messing with it. Well, that's because they've moved to golds on some of their other products. So someone somewhere had an idea of like, right, okay, it's got to be gold. It's just, because it was what Golden Treasures in Lulu or something like that was it called? But yeah, I don't know. I know that mixing it up a bit is tempting for the people who are designing these sets, but sometimes you've just got to fucking leave it alone.
We know it's not mixing it up. We know it's a money grab.
Well, yeah, I mean the added parallels, but what I mean is the changing of the stuff that has been there before.
But for 6 years, for 3 sets, it was perfectly fine. We all loved it.
Exactly, yeah. And that's what I'm saying. You could still add the parallels and leave those elements as they are.
Mm-hmm.
But no, you had to add the parallels and then do that.
I mean, I like the way the ambers look, but they're out of place in masterpieces.
The preserved ambers, you mean?
Yeah, they're out of place.
Yeah.
They're nice, but they don't belong in that set.
Mm. I mean, I've only interest in one of them, of course, and I think it looks absolutely banging. That said, just the base one of those is out of 50, so it's like I haven't got.
And now we've got 2 different base holofoils.
Really? Talk to me more.
Two different base holofoils.
Right. Okay.
They call it was it small circle? Nate?
Small dots.
I've seen the phrase small circle and checkerboard.
Small circle are 1 in 8 packs. Checkerboard are 1 in 24 packs, so 1 in 2 boxes.
So those are the unnumbered ones. So there's 2 versions of the unnumbered.
Both unnumbered.
And then you have speculate at 99 and kaleidoscope.
Yeah. Is there a 101 for holofoils?
No.
How'd they resist that? They must be jumping out of their skin that they didn't throw a 101 holofoil in there.
So what I need to do then, because I'm just collecting the base holofoil and the base battle spectra, what I need to do is figure out which holofoil pattern of those 2 matches the previous sets, and that's the one I'll go. That's the one I'll go with. Chances are none of them will, but the more common one, because I just want to own 1 card for each of the art. So the thing is, if they're repeating the art and base cards on the holofoils, that actually means that I don't technically need to have all the holofoils. But it is a shame because, we haven't done that repeating. I just don't understand the whole reason why you repeat art. It just, Masterpieces has always been special because it didn't do that, certainly in its modern premium format.
I imagine it was a last resort.
Yeah.
But, for whatever reason, they had to turn away the pieces that they did, and they were strapped for time. They did what they thought was, the most fiscally responsible move.
One would hope. Billy, I love your optimistic appraisal.
Oh, no, that's not optimism. That's pessimism. When I say fiscally responsible, I mean like whatever's best for them.
I guess so. Well, listen, my issue with that is if we've waited this long for it, I'd rather have waited another 6 to 9 months.
Yeah, but
and got it bang on.
Your binders don't have the same gravity as their balance sheet.
Oh, binder schminder. Yeah, no, I completely get what you're saying. But what
I mean? Like they have an obligation to make money, and
I guess so, but I equate it to, okay, here's the thing. You've seen the movie Elf, yeah? Where he puts out the book and he decides to put it out even though the last page is missing or there's a section of page. You're looking confused now. You've seen Elf, the movie, yeah?
Elf? Oh, Elf. I thought you said L like the letter.
No, Elf. When James Caan puts out the book and it's got 2 blank pages, yeah?
Yeah.
And he ends up having to he puts it out because he doesn't want to lose the money because he's already printed them, rather than trash them and reprint. Now, admittedly, that's probably a little bit of an extreme example, but not being a card manufacturer, I would imagine you still have a decision of that type to make once you know the reality of what the product is looking likely to be.
If it was that many pieces that were swapped out, you don't know if the printer has the, they can't just take you in once you realize the discrepancy. It's not as simple as leaving out, was it 63 and 20, 63 and 13. So 76 Simone Bianchi autos from Flair Ultra Avengers. It's not as simple as that. Like that, you could just decide like that to leave them out completely.
Yeah, I guess so. But I think, if it's an issue of time on press, okay, so they have to book in a production facility that can produce the cards to this quality, and they've only got a certain time window to present them. You've still got 90% of the product that's okay, that's printed, that's ready. You don't lose that. You just put another shorter bit of time on press at that company 6 months down the line or whenever you can book it in, and do the elements that you can do again or fresh. Just fix it. That's the frustration I have. If you've waited this long and then there's issues with it, hold it. But because it's masterpieces, it's not like it's like annual. I get, if it's annual, it's like, oh fuck it, just put it out. As appeared to be the case with annual 1920. But
and this isn't Upper Deck. This is I'll say it to a blanket statement so it doesn't feel like I'm keep throwing shade. Any corporation, their first interest is their own. They're not going to think of us, no matter how much like their business model might be catered or tailored to serving us. They're not going to think of us first, and I don't fault them for that. They wanted to crank this thing out. They had a couple people sit in the room probably and say, "Hey, we can make it work if we swap these, if we duplicate these, and we'll take a little shit for it. We're gonna take a little shit for it, but we're still gonna make our money, and they'll all come back in 2 years."
Yeah, and that's a shame. That's a crying shame. Because when you listen to so you've got that attitude and that mentality that we are assuming, is a conversation that may have happened or may exist, okay? And then you've got, I don't know if you listen to it, but the clear ethos and attitude of Steve Chandoff from Rittenhouse. I don't know if you've had a chance to digest that episode.
There has been banging at the doors for them to come back.
But do you see what I mean? You know what a company that absolutely has it in their blood to make sure the collectors get a good product sounds like. You know what that sounds like. So are we effectively surmising that it's possible that that type of conversation and mentality may not have existed when Upper Deck decided to put this product out, flaws and all? Don't know. But be a shame if that.
And also the other side of that, who's to say that Rittenhouse can provide the same level of service in today's hobby? And it's expanded. Like when things were smaller, there was less of a burden to.
Yeah, well, they still put out products. They still put out big products, and I only hear good things.
I feel like not to say the hobby was dead, but it hadn't blown up yet. So there wasn't a pressure. There wasn't a tempting opportunity for the money grab.
Yes, no, I know what you're saying, but what I'm saying is Rittenhouse, regardless of the fact they don't have the Marvel license, still operate at, if not at a higher level than they did back in the day. And they're putting out some very, very big sets with some very, very technical elements in them. And they are still managing to put those out on time to very much great collector satisfaction. And, I don't see people with the same gripes about them. Now, admittedly, they are a much smaller company.
Yeah. No, if you if you sense they have the resources to accommodate that, then I trust your take on it. I don't, because I don't dabble in anything that Rittenhouse currently does. I would defer to you on that.
Yeah. Anyway, let's move on from our theoretical world where the people at Upper Deck are like James Caan from the movie Elf. Much as I love the idea that we could have Grant Sandground as Buddy the Elf, and who would play the angry dwarf in this scenario. Anyway, what do we think about people's reactions to it so far? Because I'm seeing a number of things. I'm seeing the people who are very vocal about the pricing. And I'm also seeing the people that have been perfectly happy to have saved up, and admittedly they might not be able to buy as much product as they have, but they've thoroughly enjoyed it and they're enjoying it and they're getting the joy from it and they're putting that out there. And then you've got some people who've clearly got a lot more disposable income who are going in balls deep still. There's a little bit of friction between that. So let's talk about the saltiness so far.
I like to hear Nathan's take since he's the most mild-tempered of the three of us.
So Nathan, what do you think about the spoonful of salt crowd that we've seen a lot this week? Have you got? I imagine you've seen these posts. I imagine you've read them.
I've seen the posts, and I'm friends with some of the people that have made the posts, and
and I don't mean to be dismissive or rude by saying spoonful of salt, but it's the only way.
To me, both are right. To me, neither side of it is wrong. Sure, we'd all love masterpieces to be $300 a box. This is not the world we live in the Marvel community anymore. I mean, the people collecting Marvel has expanded so much. We saw it with Spider-Man Metal. Boxes shot up really, really quick because we hadn't had a set forever. Plus, you have PMGs again with the highest selling Marvel character, and you're gonna bring in outside people. Masterpieces is the creme de la creme of Marvel cards to a lot of people. You're bringing in outside people that are going to spend money on this set that don't otherwise spend money on the set. I'm not buying a box for myself, even at $500 a box. I'm just not doing it. To me, I could spend $500 and buy singles later on once they flood ComC for a lot less and build my sets out. But that's how I collect.
Yeah.
I mean, there's ways to get across your saltiness without completely insulting people either. That saved up their money, that spent their money the way they wanted to spend their money. If people want to buy a box at $900, buy a box at $900. Just know your risk. If you got boxes at $500, you're feeling really good about it right now.
Yeah, and that's the interesting thing. I think there are people that have just become quite frustrated, I think, and that frustration has turned into a bit of anger at other people who have been able to afford it for whatever reason, either by choice or by fortune, or just because they want to spend their money on that. It's their money. They can do what they want with it. They can roll it up into a little ball and poke it up their bottom if they want to, or they could buy a box of Marvel Masterpieces. I will say this, for the most part, the boxes I've seen broken seem to be fairly balanced so far in the group. No? You're shaking your head?
No.
Talk to me.
No, boxes that are good are really good. Boxes that are normal are just okay, from what I've seen. Like, you have plenty of boxes that we've seen rip that you'll get 2 serial numbered to 50 or less cards in the same box. And I am extremely happy for those people. But I'm going to use Off-White Tim's box that he opened the other day as an example. He pulled an out of 10 autograph and a 101 print amber out of the same box.
Oh wow! Okay,
that's not
a normal box.
I'm just going to pause you for a second, Nate. all you conductors of the conspiracy train out there, don't take this as there's loaded boxes or there's manipulation on Upper Deck to make certain people pull better things.
Absolutely, yeah. That's not the case.
No, it doesn't happen.
Sure, there's influencer boxers that do exist. They make creator boxes for shows and stuff like that. That stuff happens, but the influencers themselves don't have any role in that. Right. So that stuff is for content. For this here, these people that are getting these boxes, it's luck of the draw. Because I've seen Melfi Collectibles, he had 3 boxes in a row. He got a Mirage and a sketch card. Mirage, sketch card, Mirage, sketch card. No card serial numbered to 99. No card serial numbered less than 99. Those Mirages are supposed to be 2 per case. And he opened 3 straight boxes with a Mirage. And sketches are supposed to be 1 in 3 boxes. 2 of those boxes came from the same shipment. The other one came from a separate shipment. It's like, how do you get that? It's just luck of the draw, I think, so much. Yeah. But one thing that people do need to keep in mind is that happens with every physical release where the collation isn't exactly right. And that E-Pack's going to come out and you're going to get what you're supposed to get. And that's all you're getting if you buy a box. You're not going to get a one.
You're not going to get the hot boxes.
Yeah, you're not getting a 1-on-1 and an autograph in the same box. The algorithm just doesn't allow it.
Do not be disillusioned, collectors, that because you don't have to pay taxes on your gains and that you don't exchange your cards for chips, that you are not, in fact, gambling all the time that you participate in opening product. You are gambling. We brainwash ourselves into that it's not what's happening. It is a gamble. There is no guarantee that you will achieve a return or a profit. And I was talking to someone last night, and he thought that just because there were guaranteed items, like in a pack, in a box, in a case, that meant you weren't gambling. But no. Gambling is measured by like the value, the return on your investment, and that's a function of the character. It's a function of the artist. If we're talking about a sketch card, you could open a box that's all unpopular characters. That's a less popular rendition of a drawn character on a sketch card.
Yeah,
and your expectation to yield a return is not going to be there. Sometimes it will be. Sometimes you'll pull a 101 and you'll 5x your investment. But that's not what should be driving you. Because I can tell you I'm 100% sure that there's double-digit collectors. Nate's talking about, how much money, spending the money that you can afford to spend. There are double-digit collectors that have spent damn near to their last $900 buying a box with the intention and the hope of parlaying that into a score.
Yeah.
And we can't control them. We're not responsible for their decisions any more than we are for the people with unlimited resources who buy cases and cases on end. And we can't, expect to have any agency over them. They're going to do what they want. They're going to be compulsive, impulsive. They're going to hoard. And that's what's going to drive price.
Yeah, I find it interesting. Early pricing is always fun on a product like this, and it's very clear that whether they will realise it or not, a lot of people are expecting to be able to make their money back because you've got base cards on eBay at $40. Tier 1 base cards at $40. Now I haven't looked at the solds to see if anyone's actually buying them. But I'm looking at them and thinking, no way, I'll just wait. And I'm sorry that you feel you need to try and recoup in that way, and that you don't want to keep the contents of the box, because for me, if I buy a box like that, knowing darn well I wouldn't even get close to a full set, especially with masterpieces, you don't go in expecting to do that on 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 boxes. You just can't do it unless you trade your way to it, whatever your full set may be. But I'm seeing so many base cards up there at like crazy prices. I mean, these are just like there's 2,000 of the fuckers. you know, 1,999 cards. They might be stamped, but there's still 2,000 of them. And there aren't 2,000 people who are going to be putting together a 1 to 81 tier 1 to 3.
No. And look, long ago, before there was a pandemic, before there was a hobby boom, there was this thing that you remember and know well called the joy of collecting. And that was why people opened product.
Yes, and
that is not present in most of the sealed product that gets opened now.
Yes, no, it's not. I would say there was one particular fella who posted on the group the other day, who posted and he said he'd rewritten it about 6 times, and he said, "Look, I've rewritten this loads of times, but I have been saving up for this, and I've got enough money for 1 box. I was hoping I'd have enough money for more than 1 box. I'm sure you've seen the post. I'm not going to name the fellow on the thing, because if you're in the group, you'll have seen it." And he said, I'm almost expecting, I shouldn't have to feel like I'm writing a post apologizing for the fact that I've chosen to spend my money on this product. So it kind of got like that middle of the week, where people were like, I don't know if I want to post, because, all of a sudden, the pricing on, I can't remember if it was David Adams or Steel. It was like a day or two before the actual release, and it went up to 900. And the groups were just flooded with people, just like, have you not checked to see if someone else has posted about the same thing? So you can actually just like all hitch your wagon to the one post. But so many people doing it that it created this kind of this atmosphere, really, where those who were buying it were a bit like, oh, I don't know if I want to post about that, because there are so many people that are really angry about it. I mean, we've had 2 people leave the group. I mean, to be fair, one person left the group because he was just generally being a salty dog, and that's how I refer to him now whenever I reference him to people who know who he is. And he had an issue with the whole price bashing thing within the group, which I won't go into now. But the other guy who left yesterday was having a right old ding dong with people, and in the end got kicked out because of his conduct. And it's just like, these are people who've been in the hobby for a long time, and they are self-imploding via their behavior. It's just really strange.
Let's dive a little bit into the delusion that was had there. And I'm sure, he wasn't the only one that had it. So I'm not singling him out. I'm sure other people had this idea. And the idea was, if enough people don't buy it, they'll lower the price.
Oh yeah. It was it was like he wanted the community to unionize in some way.
Yeah,
and I was like, it doesn't work like that. Doesn't work like that, dog. Because I can't believe I just said that. I
want to be clear that we're not singling him out, because he's not the only one that had the idea.
We're not. No, and it's an interesting idea, and I love it. And some other guy put in a thing where he wanted to do some sort of not-for-profit collective, and I love where your head's at with that. And I like you're trying to find a positive way around,
right?
Soothing the collective
togetherness.
Soothing the collective bumps and scrapes of people who feel bruised by the fact that they can't afford the cards. But I remember the same conversations going on with MM20 when that hit 300 a box, which you now look back, it's interesting you said that a little while ago, Nate, because you went around when people were like, 300 a box? What the fucking fuck? This is outrageous. I'm out of here. And they slammed the door, and we haven't seen them since. So I dread to think what those people would have been like had they still been like posting, in the groups that I can see, with them hitting 900. Now, whether or not they've sold many at 900 is kind of irrelevant, because
they're selling left and right at $800-900.
Well, there we go. Well, that's the thing, because I was about to say asking price and realized price are 2 different things. But if people are choosing to pay 900, fair play to you. Hats off to you. If you can afford to, and or if you choose to, I say and or if you choose to, because you can often choose to, and damn well you can't afford it, and you're going to have some harsh conversations come credit card.
We all been there.
But we've very much, I certainly have.
You don't need to be on this call if you haven't been there.
Nath, talk to me about your overspending. We'll have an intervention. No, we won't. I can't remember where I was going with that, but it's if you've chosen to spend it, enjoy the fuck out of it. Enjoy the fuck out of it, and don't let anyone tell you that you can't enjoy that. or that you have to open it in the corner. It's like, oh, I don't want anyone to see I've spent this much money, because there are people who are pissed that they can't spend this much money. It's just like, it shouldn't be like that. Shouldn't be like
that. You shouldn't feel guilt tripped because you didn't show up to the rally.
Yeah, pretty much.
Everybody has to pick what their limit is on what they're willing to spend on this product.
Yeah. I tell you what, on my finite amount of hobby spend that I have these days, I'm having a whale of a time picking up stuff cheap elsewhere, because people are selling left, right, and centre to be able to afford masterpieces, and or because they're all skin. I think this time of year is generally pretty low in terms of selling anyway. Judging by, I can't remember who that was that said that. It might have been Pancake. I think I saw headlines from one of his Pancake Analytics things, and he said this time of the year is generally pretty soft in terms of sales. I picked up 6 really cool, not necessarily major characters, but really cool early MCU autos earlier this week for $100.
Yeah,
I'm happy with that. Thank you very much.
Yeah,
they're going in the PC, and I can tick some more off. And one of them's a pretty heavyweight actor outside of Marvel. He just had a small role in that movie. So I'm very, very happy with that. Now, could I have spent $200 today on one numbered Black Cat card from the new Masterpieces set? I could, but I've decided that because it's greater than a certain number serial, I'm just going to wait.
Right.
Because if I spend it on that one this month, I won't be able to buy anything else this month. So I'll just get frustrated.
And that's a great point. That's a serial number that a collector has to decide for themselves, that do I feel like waiting is worth the risk that I might end up not having it?
Yeah.
Because depending on how long you wait, like if we're talking about 10's a number that, if you're set on having 10 in your collection, waiting too long can be not having it.
Yeah. Well, I'd say 25 or under.
Right. That's what I would. So
tightrope. Yeah.
But then from the seller's perspective, the people that are buying these hits aren't great in number.
No.
Because they have to meet 2 standards, right? They have to be interested in owning it, and they have to have the money to buy the prices that are being posted right now.
Exactly. Yeah.
There's not a lot of those people, and it's going to be an instant drop off when the 3 collectors that are chasing this out of 10 Spider-Man card, when they get their 3, what people are willing to pay is going to be cut in half.
Well, that market's gone. If you've got 3 people in the market who are willing to pay $1,000 for a card, once that market's gone, there's not necessarily a 4th person who's willing to pay $1,000. So you can list it for $1,000, but those 3 people have got their card.
Yeah,
you could see that by looking at bidding history on like the beginnings holograms from Volume 1.
Oh,
like there's a couple people that are willing to pay thousands of dollars for those holograms. Mm-hmm. But beyond that, you can look at the bid history and go, the next realistic bid is way down here.
Yeah. It's just those 2 slugging it out toe to toe in the 11th round.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And none of us are in touch enough to know like who those people are and what they've already acquired. So it's going to come without notice.
Yeah. Well, it's exactly what happened when the people who were pumping the PMGs decided to stop like that. Just went down. It dropped like a dishwasher from 20,000 feet, which is a wonderful expression. I often like to use it.
But it all comes back to, like you said, the expectation that you're going to, they're going to turn a buck here.
Yes. Well, I remember the expectation. I remember having this conversation with someone at Upper Deck when Masterpieces 2020 was being released, and they found it fascinating that there was this expectation, and this was, the boom was kind of happening a bit, but it hadn't really gone cray because it was kind of late 2020 and into 2021 that happened. They were amazed at this relatively new concept of the actual expectation that people were going to make more from what they spent on the box, from the contents of the box. I remember this person I was speaking to being a little bit like, wow, that's a thing now.
Are you guys out of your minds?
Yeah.
That was probably the tone.
So if you think about the fact that the box is now 3x that, it's at $900 as opposed to $300, there is, you've got to be quite pragmatic about this thing. Chances are you ain't going to see that. And, no amount of listing the base cards at $40 to $50 to $60 each for a tier 1 is going to change that. But maybe I'll be wrong. I don't know. I'm frequently wrong. because I just like to kind of chat about this stuff and enjoy chatting about it.
So you're framing it kindly. You say you have to be pragmatic about it, but when in reality, the people who aren't and who carry on as though that's going to happen, they're delusional. That's what it's called. You carry a delusion that even at an $800-900 price point, you're going to be the guy that pulls that card that 5x or 10x's or even gets your money back at this point.
Or you double down and think, could be a bit squeaky bum time here. I know, I'll drop another 300 and grade some of these. And then see if I can make back the 9 plus the 300.
Because I went to the shop, and I'll go to the same shop, and if the first box is weak, I know the next box is going to be good.
Well, yeah, but that is the gambling mentality, isn't it? Going back to the table, going back to the
I'm due, I'm owed.
Yeah, exactly. Let me tell you something, brother. The house always wins. Listen, you live damn sight close to Atlantic City, so you probably know more about this than I do. In fact, you're going down there after this recording, aren't you, Billy?
I just called in a marker.
But it's fascinating. It really is fascinating. I think every time, and this is the third Modern Masterpieces set I've seen kind of breaking in through a social media lens, and it's always fascinating. And I tell you one thing that's interesting this time. At this point last time, you had a lot of new blood in the game because a lot of the Magic guys came over with Dave Palumbo, and they had a bit of dollar to spend. Plus, it was 2020, and everyone was spending a bit of silly dollar. And at this point in the game, you already had people who were significantly on the way to acquiring and had put their marker down that they were doing so. A full metallurgy set, for example. You knew who the guys who were chasing that. You knew the guys who were chasing an SSA set, or you knew the guys who were doing this, that, and the other. I haven't seen any of that just yet, and I'm not sure if that's because there's not as much product out just yet, or it's because, like you said, it's just a bit spicy for those kind of guys. I think it's, I don't know. I'm not sure on this one. I think a lot of people are still kind of trying to figure out, maybe I'm wrong, but a lot of people still trying to figure out, okay, what actually am I going to be building from this set? Because there's a lot more
I'm building my bank account here, Ian.
But no, there's a lot more elements. Do you see what I mean? It's always been the case with Masterpieces. You kind of, unless you've got the deep pockets, you've kind of got to choose what you're going for. You've got to set your goals. And I haven't seen many people talk about the goals that they're setting. Nath, have you?
Yeah, a little bit. So I'm going to build a base set, and most likely tier 4 is probably going to be purple or gold sig to make up the tier 4, just because the out of 99. Sure, there's 99 cards, but there's still tier 4s. And I can get the purples or the gold sigs for cheaper than I can buy the tier 4 cards, and I could still have the art from that set. In time, I'd love to have a what if set, but I'm not worried about that too much. I do like to kind of get like the base holofoil, the base inserts, those sort of things.
Yeah.
But the inserts that are numbered out of 50, getting a preserved amber set, probably not going to pursue that. Get as many domino cards as I can get from the set as far as the different variations, because I love the artwork on it. But
that's for sale, man. Goals.
What'd you say, Billy?
That 101 domino preserved amber for sale.
Yep.
You can sell a kid real quick.
She gone.
He's considered it. Thought so, yeah. Let's put the kids into bondage and earn some crust. It's interesting. I mean, I at the very least would like to try and mirror what I've done for the last few masterpieces. Bearing in mind that I'm never in so much of a rush on this, because I still haven't finished 2020 doing this. So, and this one's going to be an even longer game. But base 1 to 81, purple tier 4, base canvas, base holofoil, although admittedly that could be a little bit more interesting this time around, base battle spectra, and I usually like to try and get the EPAC achievements for at least tiers 1, 2, and 3. And if I can pick up a redeemed redemption card, just because I like to have that card in the binder, then so much the better, and I'll kind of be happy with that. When I say I'll be happy with that, that's still quite a lot of work. So what I tended to do last time was I tucked away the tier 4 purple pretty much straight away. So you've got to go for the most difficult stuff first, especially when it's flooded.
If you're willing to wait a year or two,
but if you wait a year or two,
to start building that out, it's so much cheaper.
It is,
right? Because while we were talking here, I looked some cards up. So I went to ComC and I looked up 2020 masterpieces, and you can get 2020 tier 1 She-Hulk for 87 cents.
Yes.
A tier 1 She-Hulk from this set sold for $25.
Yes.
And they're serial numbered the same.
Yep.
Sure, there's some art differences there, but it's initial sale that is going to get the highest. Everything else is going to cost less if you just wait.
And so that's the false objective that a lot of people give themselves, is that they go for, no matter at what point that in the release that they're undertaking this, they're going to go for the easiest ones first.
Yeah.
When I was talking to someone yesterday who got a redemption, and he said, I might not even figure out what I'm doing for this set until I see what redemption I get, and then work my way back from there.
Yeah.
Start with the hardest first, because by the time I get to the tier bases and your what ifs, depending on the tier, it will be that 87 cents.
Yeah.
If I'm in a rush to do the most common right now, then I'm going to shoot myself in the foot and have to pay, a hefty premium, and then possibly even miss out on the opportunity to get those more rare ones down the end of the road.
So yeah, it's tricky. I mean, if I think the only thing that would probably get me to part with my wallet right now is the cat metallurgy, if that pops up, or plate.
I seen one, and I seen a domino one too. Not for sale, but just
holding
videos seen one and stuff like that.
Ian's got a kid he could sell.
Oh, they look so good.
Yeah, they do. I mean, you've seen them from 2020, yeah?
I'd have to look them up, but
have you actually got one from 2020?
No.
Oh, they are stunning. The color. There we go. Billy's got one there. The colors on them are ridiculously vibrant. I would even go as far to say as it's probably slightly more vibrant and beautiful in hand than the physical card. But yeah, no, the metallurgy are absolutely stunning. So yeah, no, I'd love one of those. I think they're still 15, aren't they? Is it 15?
25.
25.
But they're not hand numbered anymore. It's a printed number.
Yeah, I never had an issue with the hand numbering. I know some people.
No. It's just another, why change it?
Yeah. Well, I think
it was only the first year with the insert, so it's not like you had an established history of it.
Exactly. Listen, I mean,
were people's opinions about the metallurgy in 2020 kind of similar to their opinions about the preserved amber? Like, why is this in this set?
No, not at all. Metallurgy was very much welcomed, because it wasn't something that had been. It was kind of a physicality rather than a format, if that makes sense. So the preserved amber looks very much like the preserved amber from Fleer Ultra Spider-Man. I mean, obviously they've done something slightly different with it, but for the most part, it is that insert that's been ported. Whereas the metal, they've done metal cards before, so they did Master of Magnetism in Fleer Ultra X-Men, and they recently did them in
Planet Metal.
Yeah, they did Planet Metal. They did Planet Metal in both the Metal X-Men and Metal Spider-Man, but they did it in Falcon Winter Soldier, for example. So they've always done cards.
Did they?
In that, yeah, they're forged vibranium ones.
I haven't seen it.
Yeah, and I haven't got any in hand yet, but I have now finished the set, because
awesome.
There's only about, I think there's 15 singles and 7 doubles, but I've just thought, they're cheap as chips. And I really dig them, because I know that the vibrancy of the color printing on them is going to be really cool. So I'm still chipping away at the Spidey metal ones, just the base ones, but it's just a different material printing that art onto. And I think it was the only new element last time. So with 2018, you had prelims. That was the first time for them.
That was new, yeah.
Yeah. And then for 2020, you had metallurgy. So it was only one new thing. But this time around, of course, they've thrown a lot more into the mix.
Technically, from 16 to 20, they cleaned up the coloring on the canvas parallels because it was it was bronze and red, but it was actually gold and silver. It wasn't really a red.
Yeah. But the I don't know. I'm listen. I haven't seen any of them yet. I know we've been quite vocal on some aspects of things, but I'm not saying in any way that I'm giving it a negative review or anything like that. I'm just finding it interesting the differences and the initial reactions to it, because I know that a lot of the people who've been breaking this have been absolutely thrilled with what they've got. I mean, and Nath, I know you've watched loads of breaks. Have you been on some streams with people breaking as well?
No. There's been quite a few full rooms, and I'm happy to just sit back and watch everybody else do it. Like I'm on enough stuff that I can just sit back and let somebody else be on camera for a little while.
Yeah. Well, I think there's
nice not like
YouTube doesn't pay me yet, so
no. It's going to be. I don't. It's going to be a long time.
Contrary to popular belief, YouTube relatively doesn't pay any of us yet.
No, it's true.
No, true. But yeah, I mean, I've had the question asked of me like this compared to the other sets, and we were talking about this in Discord last night, and like because I've seen like Ian Cards of Metal break plenty of 2020 masterpieces, and people break 2018 masterpieces. If I'm looking for a fun time, I'm taking this set because it feels more fun. In 2 years from now, will it feel more fun? I don't know, maybe not. But when I watch like these boxes of 2020, even though they're guaranteed a sketch, when you see the sketches that come out of them, you're like, did I really care about it that it was guaranteed to sketch? Whereas this, sure, you have some new parallels that are there, but really the box run isn't that much bigger than what it was in the previous 2 years, 2 releases. That I'm like, it's so negligible, but I enjoy what's coming out of the packs. Like each pack feels like it's going to be some excitement there.
Yeah.
The parody and sketches you're referring to is still there despite the decreased odds.
True,
and that,
true, yeah.
That has to be there.
Yeah.
There has to be for the general sketch card collector, because obviously there's some people who think one end is going to be, they're going to value it differently. But I feel like there's a sweet spot where most of us reside where we can, define a floor, a middle, and a ceiling for sketch card quality. That has to exist. Otherwise, when you get a really good one, it's not going to hit you the same. It's not going to feel as good. If they were all Fred Ian masterpieces and Lee Lees and Gleebs, with their, I'm not even getting into Gleebs.
Yeah, they wouldn't.
But, if they were all of that special caliber, you wouldn't be able to appreciate them as well.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not saying that everyone that's not them is decidedly inferior. It's different strokes for different folks, but there's. Even the artists themselves know that there's an established hierarchy that is collected within.
Yeah, of course. There's a way to talk about that on social media as well. We've had some interesting people who've been very rude directly on artist posts of late. Oh, hello. Let's look at this magic. Now I've not seen this artwork before. That's rather lovely.
So I like that the foiling on this, or at least the design on it, it mimics the design on the base cards, which is really nice. They added the extra little element there.
Yeah.
Where the masterpiece is at. But I think they did a really good job on these.
Yeah. They are. I mean, if they're anything like the 20, I've only got one 2021, the one of Black Cat. And they are stunning. They're really good. You need to update your Chrome, by the way, sir.
Yes. Yeah.
Don't do it now. Show us the back of that.
So it looks exactly like the base cards.
Yeah, that's what I like about them. I think they're really cool. They've got a pretty good heft to them. I mean, if you had a binder full of those, you'd certainly use it if anyone broke into your house at night. It would put them out cold. But yeah, no, they are rather lovely. I tell you what I do like on this is the Dos Santos logo.
Oh, right there, yeah.
Yeah, I think that's a cheeky little logo. I like it.
I just noticed
nice
that.
Nice little brand ad for Dan.
It is good. Nice, yeah. It is good. And I'll tell you the other thing that's interesting. Turn over again. Sorry, look at the front. Okay, this is refreshing. Can you go back on your browser history and look at some of the base cards that we looked at?
No, you can't go back. I'm just kidding.
No, because you'll find some porn site.
The art's the same. Yeah, the art's the same.
No. I want to look. I want to
Is
look
the
at
font
something
different?
else. No, I want to look at something else. Just pull up a base card.
Yeah, so I'll just pull up the magic.
All right, I want to see the back.
Oh, the placement of the brand is different.
There's no Upper Deck logo.
There's a
Skybox logo.
Marvel.
Can I just say, I love Upper Deck. I do love you, despite some hopefully constructively received criticism and speculation on this episode. But we don't need your logo on everything that you put out, and so thank you for not putting your logo on the back of these. Now they have done previously put different logos on different types of parallels, so that's a base. Can just humor me here, Nath. Just drive down that list of results. Is there a gold? Right, there's a gold sig. Let's have a look at the back of a gold sig. There's no back picture on
no
that.
back picture.
Yeah, thank you for that. Let's go to the next listing.
Get it
Let's
together.
go to the. I mean, come on, post a back.
The UK guy's got it figured out.
That one has, right. Let's have a look. So that's Skybox again. Okay, that's interesting. Yep. I was just curious because sometimes they they fuck around with the logos and they put different logos on different types. Right, and there's a variant cover. Again, that's something else they've changed. There we go. Still Skybox
they
logo.
Did.
Used to be called What If. Yeah, it'd always be What If to me. It's the same way that Snickers will always be Marathon. Starburst will always be Opal.
It was mentioned on a couple streams. The What If, maybe they stopped calling it What If for this set.
It's because of the
What If set.
Yeah. It'll be the Marvel. It'll be Marvel. The Marvel. Yeah. It'll be the Marvel. Be Marvel that would have stipulated that, I'm sure.
Well, I also is it the are they still using the cover for the first appearance of the character?
No, and
that was the What If. It was What If this person drew this character on their first appearance.
Yeah. So the Black Cat one, for example, I think it's Amazing Spider-Man 50 something. It's a J. Scott Campbell issue. That one is from a Magic Limited series. That obviously wasn't her, because
she wouldn't appear in her own series number 4.
I actually do like that. Here's one, character collectors. Keep an eye on the corner boxes for those, because that's going to catch a few people out. If you're a character collector that collects the character, whether they appear visually, keep an eye on the corner boxes, because I wouldn't be at all surprised if I find a variant cover, or What If, whatever we're calling them these days, that's got Black Cat in the corner box and it's not a Black Cat card. It'd be just my luck that will happen. Who knows? Nath is now going to find one. You see, you have to include the variant cover there, I think. The Psylocke artwork is amazing. We just have a moment.
You got the X-Men team here in the corner.
So if you're a Cyclops collector, you'll be needing a copy of that card. If you go as deep as character collecting as
another level to that even is that because it's not the first appearance, you could potentially pair it with the comic and not be put out for the cost of the first appearance.
Yes, you could do.
I guarantee you X-Men number 20 is cheaper than New Mutants 87.
Yeah, exactly. It's interesting. Major appearance. That's interesting. I think they've done that on previous years, their major appearance. So I tell you, someone earlier in group posted the alpha of Black Cat Orange. And I was like, I love
Spider-Man 311.
I love these. I love the little inset box in the bottom left-hand corner where sometimes the barcode appears on the newsstand ones. I love those.
It's funny because Jake hates that box when it's got Spider-Man in it.
Oh, I love it. I actually don't like them with the barcode. If there's a copy that has, I know people go for the barcode ones because they're supposed to be the ones that are more sought after in higher editions, which is why Manu does his thing, because they're it's more of a challenge, I guess. So yeah, if you're an Iceman collector, looking at you, Brandon, or if you're a Storm collector, what's that guy's name? Arnoldo, is it? Yeah. So yeah, and I had that with the recent Marvel annual. Black Cat, she was in the background on the comic image behind about 4 different characters, and I was like, "You're kidding me!" So yeah, on the back of this, so turn around, turn it over, and you'll
this one
see.
doesn't have a back.
Oh, will you
Another
stop it,
wanker.
people who do that? Yeah, another wanker.
Another
Another one.
Another
Another eBay wanker. The world is full of eBay wankers. I'm not going to bother muting this episode, by the way, when the swear words for the
here's
audio
one.
version.
So Hercules. So this one doesn't have little corner box. This one went old school.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. Those older ones, I think corner boxes were kind of give or take on those limited series.
Mm-hmm.
You didn't need to do it so much. There's another seller that hasn't put the picture of the back on. I love the Jessica Jones. Can I just say, I think the Jessica Jones is really cool. What's the expression that was used for the Fleer Ultra event? Mum
Jessica jeans.
Mum jeans.
Yeah, the mom jeans.
What does that even mean? I mean, because someone actually tell me what that means.
The high waisted.
She just looked really comfortable. She looks like she's a good toddler.
Oh, okay. Well, in that case, I've been wearing mum jeans since I was in my 20s.
Whoever Vathco is for the seller, get back pictures for your cards.
Yeah, get back pictures for your cards, Vathco.
Seriously.
Yeah. Go to my office.
For all the offenses that we've discussed, you're the one that we're going to call out for yours.
Yeah. Now, apparently, Cloak and Dagger go together as artwork.
Yes, they do.
They face each other. Actually, I don't know if there's much blend to it.
That's nice. I like Cloak and Dagger. If you were going to PC someone else that you don't already PC, who would it be? Because mine would possibly be Dagger, with or without Cloak. And kind of take or leave the shady guy who just hangs around with a big coat.
For me, probably either Magic or Enchantress. One of those two.
Oh, Enchantress is a good one. And Multiple Man. Now, I do like the Multiple Man. Let's scroll up to Multiple Man. I love that. That's so subtle, the way you've got one of the guys just looking slightly towards the viewer.
And look at this.
Yeah.
Back image.
Oh, wow. Okay. X Factor 1. So all of the people in that image of X Factor 1 is fair game for
2005,
yeah.
So 509 Tyler, congratulations, good job.
509 Tyler, 93 feedback. You're going to have that feedback high, my son.
We salute you.
Yeah, it's I mean, there's some absolutely banging artwork here. Some of this you're scrolling through, and some of it I'm seeing for the first time. Look at that Jean Grey. My goodness, that's gynecological.
She's so hippie.
Wowzers. Hello. That's a spray.
I mean, like, period-wise. I mean, like, figure-wise.
Oh, Uncanny X-Men 281. That's brilliant. I love it.
All right. Different art, please.
Billy's like, something else, please.
Yeah, Billy. Billy's
even the dog's getting excited.
Your dog's getting excited. Yeah.
A good segue from color vibrance. I feel like we have to mention it. Have you guys seen the Mirages?
Yes.
In live, because one thing that I have noticed right away in years past with the Mirages, you had to hold the card at a very particular angle just to see one of the four images or one of the three images. The transitions, whatever they changed on production or technology, it's so smooth, it's so seamless, it's very pleasing to the eye to hold the card and to tilt it and to go from one all the way to the other end.
Well, it's nice. It's nice that they've nailed that. I remember I went after them. I made a late run on them in 2018. Well, I say a late run. A late run would be trying to get them now. But for the 2018, when it was out, when they were really cheap, because the Mirages for 2018 at one point dropped to like 30, 40 bucks each. You know, when that market gets flooded after ComC and everything's really, really cheap, and then it suddenly starts to dry up and the prices go up again. You try and find one of them now for that price.
And what did we sell the set for, Nathan?
Say again?
What did we sell the set of Mirages for from 2018 at MentalCon?
Oh, damn. I don't even remember.
It was like 800, 1,000.
Yeah,
it was up there.
You know, we knew it was a good deal.
Yeah. I mean, they generally speaking, you know, before EPAC, they were hovering around 100, 150. After EPAC, they dropped down to as low as 30, 40, and they're probably back up, you know, more than where they initially were now. But I remember getting a couple and I was just like, yeah. Do you know what I mean? I was like, I've already got the artwork. I don't need the gimmick of it. And effectively, that's just what it is for me. So I've never
I
been.
think
I've never been
there's a decent amount of people that agree with you there. They don't like the lenticular style cards. They'd rather have like a hologram or something like that.
Yeah, yeah. I think there's only. I was actually pleasantly surprised. I got a lenticular in Eternals, and just because of the design, it's one of those things where the lenticular was part of the design for the card, rather than let's just get an image and put it onto a lenticular, which is how the splashticular always feel, for example, from Annual. Yeah. And the Eternals one, like or loathe the MCU sets, and it's not most people's cup of tea, but they really worked because they worked with the concept of the movie and just the particular design. So it kind of came together nicely, and I'll enjoy picking those up cheap on Comsy at some point. The other ones that really worked are the ones where they've done comic covers. So the ones from Marvel 80th, where they did an 18 card set. The first 12 were regulars and the last 6 were SP, and they were a bugger to get.
Hold up, Nathan. I need to see it.
And those work really well. So what do you need to see? Sorry?
No, I'm telling Nathan, he's our gopher. Pull it up.
Oh, well,
Marvel 80th comic cover lenticular.
I can show you those right now. They're behind me. He says, standing up and almost falling over because I'm some sort of klutz.
Where organized fella.
Are they? They are in here somewhere. They're in my folder because I also side PC comic cover.
Nate, look at how full everything is.
Yeah, I know. I'm just trying to find it. He has
no clue what to do the next time he has to add something.
I've no idea which folder. Move again. I've no idea which folder they're in. Are you still looking over there? I'm still looking over here.
I've got it already.
These. Everyone, you've probably got it
Nate,
already. I'm going to show you them.
That's the best view of him.
I'm going to show you.
Here we go.
So you look at that on screen because I have my back to you. I can't see a darn thing.
So we got the Invincible Iron Man pulled up right now.
Yeah. Comic cover 3D.
They are beautiful. I need to just find which folder they're in. Which folder are they in? Who knows? Are they even in one of these folders? Do I still own them? Did I sell them without remembering?
How many did you say we're in the insert set?
18.
It's not bad.
18, and they are absolutely stunning. Where the heck are they? I moved everything around, and I completely forgot where I put everything. Here they are.
Take back that organized comment I made.
Here they are. No, I had a kind of a swap around of what folders were where, and of course I've been to sleep since then.
Nate, you keep inadvertently switching to my screen in transition. You've had it 4 times already.
So which one did you just? Let me show you. Well,
I've just got my view to be tiled so that we were always all 3 up.
So this is a Marvel's one.
Okay. Yeah.
And they really work.
I showed the.
Which did you show? Was it Iron Man?
Iron Man. And the
Iron Man 77, yeah.
Iron Man 77. Here we go. So. They
got depth to it.
They work.
Yeah.
Just with the concept of the cover and the way that the way that most covers are designed in terms of the.
No, I like that. There's an actual.
They're really nice. They're really nice, and they chose some really like deep cut ones. I mean, there's Marvel Comics presents Weapon X. They're lovely. They're absolutely lovely.
And without knowing anything, I imagine it's easier to achieve the effect they're going for here, where it's just depth instead of like completely changing the image entirely.
Yeah. So what I mean, this one is absolutely astonishing. This Captain America one.
Oh wow!
Do you see what I mean? It really works. So what I wish they would do in Masterpieces is stop trying to put multiple characters onto the Mirages. Actually make them a single character thing, like the Holofoil or the Battle Spectra, and just give some depth to some of the pieces.
Battle Spectra as Mirages, where it's 2 characters and they almost have an emotion towards each other.
Yeah.
That sounds pretty cool.
I'd buy that for $1.
I mean, I didn't know we were in the wish list portion for 2024, but I'll put it down.
I don't think it's going to be 2024. I mean, maybe it will. I don't know.
Well, they're going to call it 2024. It's going to be released in 2044.
Well, in theory, the artist is already working on them.
Yep. So, he is.
I would hope so. I mean, if Dan spent almost 2 years doing this set, I would hope they've already got the next artist already doing the work.
Yeah, exactly. And the other artist is probably looking at all this going, no, fuck it, down in tools. I'm off.
I'm out.
Yeah, I'm out. All right,
So,
guys.
Ian, I need your, I don't know. Are we going to ruffle any feathers or further burn any bridges if we start talking about print run? Is that something you don't want to get into?
I have no issues talking about print run. I don't really care about print run. A lot of people like thinking about print run and getting into it. I don't really give a fuck. I'm just here for the cards. So
Well,
if you want to do the print run math, go for it.
No, just a quick run through because it is important that some things, obviously with more cards being produced, some things that we were used to and accustomed to have changed.
Yeah.
I said it in the group, but
well, the gold foil signatures, is that where you're going?
That's the biggest thing. And somebody who, I shouldn't pay any mind to threw shade and suggested that I made up numbers to somehow angle a position myself better or whatever that means. I'm like, I'm done collecting. It means nothing to me. I'm just bored at this point. And I told you what I did, and I'll say it right now to the world. We know what the odds are in getting a sketch card.
Mm-hmm.
We know who the roster is for the sketch artists. I cold called every single sketch artist on their social media account, and I got their approval number of how many cards were put in the set. I use that to reverse engineer the print run. So that's where its accuracy comes from. It's not speculation. It's not guessing.
Right.
So when I tell you that there's 232 tier 4 gold signatures, I get nothing out of it. I'm just trying to help you know that there's almost 5 times as many.
I ran math last night. I ran math last night on the tier 4 gold signatures because somebody had asked me about it, and I came up with about 230 as well.
Yeah. There you go.
And previous, so the last 3 years, 16,
they had 18, it around 47.
Around 50, basically, around the same as the what if. And for the longest time, the price of the gold sig versus the price of the what if was just night and day because people were seeing the number. And without a number, well, surely it's not worth as much. That's always a very interesting one. There must be some human psychology thing about the fact that just putting a number on it.
But the funny thing is that now, finally, people are accustomed to that rarity. That's their basis for paying and charging
for this set. Yes.
Yeah. When it's actually no longer useful information.
Yeah. Interesting. Yeah, I used to do the gold sigs. I did actually manage to achieve 1 to 90 gold sig for.
So I do have figures on some other non-numbered inserts.
Go on.
I'll just spit out real quick. We've got 257 of each Mirage, 347 of each holofoil checkerboard, 1,040 of every holofoil
small dot.
Small dot.
Well, those are the ones I'll be going for then. Yeah.
924 of each Battle Spectra base.
Okay.
Interesting here. 308 of each preliminary art.
Oh, that's more.
My out of the blue prediction is that there's going to be a number of people that hope to put together a preliminary art set in lieu of a standard set.
Yeah.
And at 308, considering somewhere around half that's going to be physical, it's going to be competitive. Base canvas, 1,386. Tier 3 gold signature, 770. So.
Okay. Interesting.
Even tier 3, there's not that many.
Hey, you guys who do this maths, I just can't. And I've worked with data, but I just don't. I never make the time to sit down and do it because I'm like.
Well, you know what drove me, and I hate to keep coming back to Rittenhouse, is that Jeff Allender's NS Lists, the checklist website, he kept up with it for years and had accurate numbers on all the artists' submissions. And a lot of that was because of cooperation from Rittenhouse.
Yeah, and Rittenhouse themselves put it on their website for quite a few years.
He didn't just hunt down all the artists like I did. He got it in one fell swoop.
Interesting. Who did the most for 2023?
It was a tie. A lot of them did 80. PJ Katakuten did 80. Pull up the spreadsheet.
He's going to drop some more numbers on us now. People are going to be going away from this with numbers swimming through their heads.
No. People are going to, be excited at the idea that what's it called? Fred Ian did 20.
Oh wow!
Wow, I didn't think they did that many.
That seems like a lot for someone with their schedule.
Yeah.
FX did 20. Achilles Kokonakis, who's been, not really present in recent years, he did 30.
Oh wow! Okay, that's exciting.
That is exciting.
His stuff is so good.
Toma, who we love, did 77.
Mm-hmm.
Ash, who we're very supportive of, did 80.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see, Marcia Dye, the lovely Marcia Dye, did 36.
Cool.
Mike Thomas.
Yeah.
The every hobby man's sketch card artist, did 65. Yeah. The Munchman, Munchausen, did 80.
The Magnificent Munshaw
did 80.
The Magnificent Munshaw, that guy from There's Something About Mary.
Superman himself.
The fabulous Rhiannon Owens did 56.
Okay.
And like clockwork, because he takes 500 hours to complete one, Tony Perna did 10.
Okay, that's cool.
Sharpens his pencil 70 times just to complete a card because he puts so much work and detail into it.
He does. He does.
I love it. I don't ever want to change.
He's also putting out so much good quality stuff through Perna Studios.
Yeah. He's going to be staying with me for a night next month.
Is he?
Nice.
Yeah.
Oh, that's exciting. Please go out and get shit-faced with him.
It was tentative up until now.
Okay.
But now that it's out in the air and it's public, he's going to be beholden to it. Him and his wife are going to sleep one night at my home. They're going to share a meal with me.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They have family in New Jersey, so
that's
the reason for them coming here.
I think Elaine's from around that way.
Yeah.
So yeah. Cool. Oh, exciting. Well, now we know, as a result of this episode, we now know a lot of details about MentalCon. Remember that, Nath? We spoke about that about 2 hours ago. We know a lot of details about MentalCon. We know that people can and will and are paying for Marvel Masterpieces 2022, and that the cards are by and large gorgeous, although there is some flaws in the design and execution. And we also know that Billy is good at maths. Who knew?
And we know where the Perners are going to be sleeping one night.
And we know where the Perners are going to be sleeping. So that might notify certain immigration officials. So we might need to edit that out, because who knows who will get deported to where. I'm going to let you both go, because we've been going over 2 hours. People have been
Nathan is so tickled. I could tell he's glowing inside. He's had so much fun.
Nathan's been up all night, probably. Have you been up all night again?
No, I got about a 4-hour nap.
You got about for a nap? Where does it become? Right, where does a nap become a period of sleep? What's the hour mark? Because
4 hours and 15 minutes.
Okay, so after 4 hours and 15 minutes, I only got 4.5 hours sleep.
Then I'm sleeping.
Yeah. Okay. Fair enough.
No, yeah, I still got to do another one today with Jake. We got to do a Jerks podcast today too. So.
Oh, okay, cool.
All you whore.
You listen. I'm absolutely fine with both of you whoring yourself on whatever content you can get yourself in front of, because quite frankly, the hobby needs more of you two in it. So thank you very much for jumping on today. This is what happens when you have an episode with only a very loose structure, folks.
I worked very hard to earn that opinion from you, Ian. I mean that.
Bless you, dear.
We'll start the Billy and Nate podcast.
Billion.
It'll be Billy talking for an hour and a half and me going.
Can I just say,
I'm just laughing at everything I say.
I already have ideas for
sending me DMs of who to talk shit about next.
I already have ideas for the next podcast that I'm beginning to start, which may or may not replace this one? I don't know. I'm having early thoughts about it.
So, well, I'm number 5. Tuned. I don't know if there's anybody. I don't know if anybody's done 5.
Only
Donnie might have.
Yeah. Yes, Donnie might have. And other one, Greg might be close. Rebel base card. Who knows? Anyway,
out there. I'm Marvel Card Collector Podcast guest royalty.
You are. You are. We both are.
Guaranteed.
You both are. Welcome anytime. Who wants to sign us off this week, folks? Which one of you? You're both pointing at each other. Shall I just do it? I'll just do it then.
Let's try to do it all at the same time and sound like total jackasses.
All right.
Yeah. 1, 2, 3. You've been listening to the Marvel Card Collector.
What
was that?
Don't you have to say the whole thing?
No. It's just 2 words.
Say enjoy collecting.
Just 2 words.
Jesus.
Just 2
I was going to be like jerk off while you're enjoying collecting.
Are we going on 3 or after 3?
1, 2, 3, go.
Right. Okay.
1, 2, 3. Enjoy
collecting.
Jesus Christ,
death, Billy! I can see your death.
2 fucking left feet.
This is Billy's groin cam. We are now on groin. Yep,
it fell down.
It fell. Yeah,
sure did.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, sure it did. That's just its lower setting for your other content streams. Right. Thanks for listening to the Marvel Card Collectors Podcast. Tasting notes and visuals for each episode can be found on our Facebook page. We're on most social media at the MCC Pod, and you can also watch the video of each episode recording on our YouTube channel. Leave us a voicemail via our home on anchor.fm/MCCP. We're also on iTunes, Spotify, and all major podcast platforms. Please take a second to subscribe, like, and review our show wherever you find us. Our Facebook community is at MCCW Marvel Card Collectors Worldwide and MMC Marvel Masterpieces Collectors. The great music we use on our audio version is called Rocket Power by Kevin MacLeod. Thanks to the collectors, artists and creators who support the Marvel Cards Fan Collective. We'll see you next time, and remember, it's a small hobby but a fun one. Make mine Marvel and enjoy collecting.
Well, I don't want to be rude, but may I have a drink?
Certainly.
I had 3 or 4 before I got here, but they're beginning to wear off, and you know how that is. Well, don't look at me like that. You'll like a little drink yourself.